bow our heads and start mourning for the death of the Nintendo Virtual Console, which is going to be shutting down in 2019, I think, did they say? Or is it 2018? Possibly.
I think it's sometime 2018, I think I saw.
Okay. And obviously the Xbox Live Indie is shutting down as well. So there's going to be hundreds of games that are just going to now be disappearing and not be able to get again.
Well, unless they've moved to a different platform, I guess. But...
Well, yeah, I read it, brought up the point earlier that a lot of the big games you can now get on Steam, especially the Xbox Live Indie games. The WiiWare games, a lot of them didn't move anywhere else.
They were sort of all closed, like tightly within their sort of shop.
Like Nintendo is or was at the time. It was very much a closed ecosystem, so it was on their system. It wasn't anywhere else. But it's just going to be a shame because I may or may not have every single bit of WiiWare available, possibly got by legitimate means, but that's not the point. There are a lot of very, very good games on there that no one's heard of. And is it going to be just a shame that they're all going to disappear?
Well, there's still quite a bit of time for them before, like, the Nintendo WiiWare store disappears. According to Nintendo, it'll be shutting down on January 31st, 2019.
Oh, it was 2019. Okay.
Yeah, so that's a good year and a bit away. I mean, it won't allow you to add points to your account from sort of like early next year, so you can't buy anything after sort of March time, I guess, if it's the first part of the year, like springtime, I guess. So I guess people better get buying, really.
Yeah, and I mean that's the thing. The difference with the WiiWare one is it's not like where games get taken off of Steam. Whereas if you've bought them, they are still technically on the server and you can re-download them. This is these services going. You're not going to be able to connect to it again. It's dead. And that's where I think the problem is. There's a fantastic game on there that I just found one day, and it was called Eduardo the Samurai Toaster. And it is as mental as it sounds. It's a 2D platform shoot 'em up, and you are a toaster. But it's absolutely brilliant. But no one's heard of it, and no one's going to be able to play it after about a year from now, which is a terrible, terrible shame.
Yeah, because what happens if like you've downloaded all these games and your Nintendo Wii just dies and you want to play them again? You can't, can you? They're just gone.
No, they're gone. And it's one of the reasons where I've not, apart from Steam, which to be honest I can't see going anywhere anytime soon. No. I generally don't like downloading games because of stuff like this.
Well, you've got the security of a physical copy, haven't you? So, like even if like the servers die and everything, you can still sort of play the single player experience on a game and read out. Like you don't even have to re-download it, do you? So it's on disc.
Yeah, exactly. You've got the disc. I mean, yeah, you might be stuck playing version 1.0 of it before any DLC or updates came out, but you'll still be able to play the core game.
That's it. Yeah.
I mean, the problem is with games of this day and age is that you'll probably be playing a completely broken, unplayable version of the game that hasn't got that day one patch.
As is with most AAA titles now. Everything is to a schedule, and then it's seen as being patched out when it's out in the wild already, I guess. It's a bad way to develop games, to be honest.
But other Dan, have you got any words to say on the Xbox Indie? Because this is being a big part of your life as well.
Your one, I guess. You played more Xbox Indie, didn't you?
Xbox Indie is really close to my heart. It's a real shame to see that go. That and the Xbox Live Arcade really, to me, brought indie games to consoles. I mean, obviously, they weren't even really called indie games before that big surge, the ones in Indie Game, the movie. Before that, they weren't really known as indie games. They were just smaller games. You'd play smaller games or flash games or whatever on PC all the time and think nothing of it. It didn't have a name. It wasn't a movement. It wasn't a new thing. And Xbox Live indie games introduced me to so many cool developers that I still kind of follow and stay in touch with. And it was the first time that such a diverse selection of games even as much as tributes to old games became available. It was a flood of games which even Valve weren't allowing games on at the rate that they were launching on Xbox Live indie games, and it had a trial system as well. So all of a sudden, it was like I was a kid again, downloading demos and shareware builds and abandonware games, because all of a sudden I had my 5-minute trial or whatever it was.
Well, wasn't that was part of the agreement, weren't it? That every single game had to have a demo.
Yeah, exactly.
It was either a timer or the first level, wasn't it? Most of the time.
I think it was a timer every time in the end. I think it was initially proposed as that, but yeah, I think with the arcade games, it was just a set demo and it had to be there. But with the indie games, it was on a timer, and so that meant that you could download like No Luca No, and
that game.
And Laser Cat and Super Amazing Wagon Adventure and all of these games and play through, 5 or 6 minutes, and then you'd be like, I was doing so well at that, and then it's like a quid to buy this game that you've had this, you've had the experience of, I suppose, seeing your mate play it almost. It was the same as going around a friend's house and seeing a game that you haven't seen before. And so it's going to be a shame to see that go. That was part of the reason why I wanted to start writing about games as well, because there were all of these games coming out, and I had no idea what any of them were. So I was playing a whole bunch of them, and I was enjoying this one and enjoying that one. But even though I worked selling games, other people that I worked with, who were these, very knowledgeable people, didn't care for the Xbox Live indie game platform, and so it was almost a bit of a joke when I first started, or when I was on the old site that I was on, that I'd sit there playing these indie games, these random indie games, and people were like, "Oh, what's Dan playing this week?" Was it Raid by Silver Dollar, the door kicking one, which was essentially QuickTime events? It was just stuff like that, and One Finger Death Punch, and
yeah, you was always playing random games during the podcast back then, weren't you?
Yeah.
Laser Cat.
Yeah, I mean, I still hold that Laser Cat. I know I hadn't played Viva V at the time, but Laser Cat was my Viva V.
We shall mourn ye.
It's a shame to see it go. I honestly hope that they simply build a new way to access it. I mean, everything was made in XMA anyway, so it could be ported across to another platform. It's just getting all the developers to do that, which isn't necessarily fair on them. But yeah.
I mean, even if some of them are still around.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, this is something that I had a brief little chat on Twitter with Ryan about. It's, in a way, in cases like this, like I said, I've got every single WiiWare title that there is available on a hard drive. So I've got the games, and I can still play those games on my Wii when no one else will be able to. So whereas some people might call me a criminal and a dirty, filthy pirate, I'm basically an archivist because I'm doing something that Nintendo isn't.
Yeah, this is
very true.
Just where,
and I can guarantee you, if you look in the right places, you will find every Xbox Live Arcade game somewhere out on the internet to be put on a JTAG'd Xbox.
No doubt.
Yeah. It's pirates doing the good thing, and at what point does it turn from something bad into now saving? When do you stop taking away sales to now helping?
Well, actually, this brings up an interesting point, because there was an article that came out the other week where a load of different companies that have been doing research on this kind of stuff have actually come together and said downloading games, music and videos has no effect on the sales numbers at all.
Oh, wasn't that a hidden sort of research, wasn't it?
Yeah, apparently they've been doing it for years. This one, they've been investigating for years, and they've basically come to the fact that it affects nothing. Because most of the time, the people that would download it or either weren't going to buy it in the first place, or go ahead and buy it when they can.
Yeah, it's like when I first started playing like PC games, like I didn't have the money to go out and buy all those games immediately. But like none of them really started offering demos anymore. So you sort of try and gain it in. I don't know. Your mate had a copy or something that you got off of him, and you play it, and it was like, oh yeah, this is really good. It's a bit buggy, obviously, because I'm not playing a legit-ish version, I guess. But if you liked it enough, you would then want to buy it, wouldn't you? So if you truly like that game, then you would support the developer. So, and I have done in that case. I have got games through illegitimate means and then gone and bought them myself because I thought it was worth buying and sort of owning a copy that could be updated and not be so broken that every time you'd lose game saves. I see the point behind it.
Yeah, like I do the same thing. Just like you say with the demos thing. Just recently, the game Cuphead.
Yeah.
So it was one of those games where I was worried that it was either just going to be all style over substance, and I wasn't going to enjoy it, and things like that. So I got a weird copy. I mean, thank God they put it on GOG, so I didn't have to worry about any dodgy cracks. But I played it, didn't get on with it at all. So then I don't play it.
Yeah. I mean, I guess
I've tried it, and now I don't have to waste my money, and I'm not disappointed by going, oh, well, I've bought it, and now I'm out money because I don't like it.
So they did lose the sale then?
Sorry?
So they did lose the sale then?
What do you mean?
But only because someone just didn't genuinely like their game. So I guess you didn't play it any further than what you didn't like of it already.
I haven't played it any more than I would. I'd still be able to get a Steam refund.
Okay, yeah, no, that's. This whole piracy thing is a odd situation because it's much like many things, a bit of a generalization. I mean, my PlayStation 1 and my Dreamcast collections were, 90% pirated, and I never turned around and bought those games. As a matter of fact, since then, I've probably downloaded ROMs for them, half a dozen times each, but I've still not, bought those games. But there are some games that I've bought after playing a demo, but the games that I was playing when I didn't have money to, I suppose that's your argument, isn't it, really? Because when I had a Dreamcast, I wasn't working, so I'd never have paid money for those games, but I got to play them instead anyway.
Yeah. It's a bit of a weird situation. Yeah. But I mean, my Steam list is full of old games that I had dodgy copies of ages ago, and I've just gone, oh, it's like £2. I'll have that.
That's a fair point, yeah.
It's like GOG had a sale recently as well, didn't they, with loads of old games on there? So yeah. I think a lot of them were bought. And
that's why I like GOG. I love the fact that they just go, no, DRM is rubbish. It doesn't help anyone. We're gonna have none of that.
Denuvo, get out of here.
I applaud them for it. Yeah, well, Denuvo did well for a year, but now it's just pretty much a joke like everything else. It doesn't help anyone.
What was that game where they said, oh yeah, if you can break the DRM, Ryan, wasn't it? It was Ryan, where they said, oh, if you can break the DRM, we'll release a DRM free copy or something, I think they said.
Yeah, and I mean, to be honest, that's fair. At least they're being upfront about it, because they know that basically, any kind of copy protection isn't going to work. They're just getting it out there. It just delays the inevitable. So they're getting it out there, so they get the day one sales, and then after that, they don't care.
I mean, there are literally teams of people that just get together and hack the absolute crap out of that until they find out how to break it.
I mean, and to be honest, for a while, it worked. I think it was Rise of the Tomb Raider was the first major title that had Denuvo, and that took over a year.
Yeah,
but
once
Sonic Mania took 2 days.
Yeah, once you get one game that's had that, it's basically it's the same for every game. Exactly. I mean, even the like previous DRM methods, like once you get it once, you've got it for most of them. So
yeah, pretty much. Anyway, we have kind of swayed from the topic, so I think that's time to end the podcast.